So you haven't been an employee for 9 years. Would you ever go back to being an employee? And if the answer is no, then why not?
I don't think so. And the reason I say that is I never like to take everything off the table completely. Locums has a lot of benefits, especially financial benefits. The limitation that I would say that most people are scared of is the travel component of it. You know, depending on how far you go or not, it can create some hurdles for some people.
Yeah.
Depending on your family dynamics.
Yeah. But how did you manage that? Let's get into that a little bit, because I think people have questions about that. Like, how do I lead a good family life, but also, you know, do this path? Like, how did you kind of do it? And your case is unique, and everybody else's case is going to be unique. Yeah. But how did you kind of manage that?
The way I kind of looked at it was, if you're working, let's just say 15 shifts or 12, let's just say 12 shifts in locums and you're gone, or your 12 shifts in your home, when your home shifts, like in a non-locums world, you're going to be getting paid a lot less. You'll probably still not be able to see the family for maybe more than half an hour because you're working the bulk of the day, mostly. Whereas for locums, you work 12 shifts and you make a lot more, and you're able to provide a lot more.
So you could even work less working locums and make the same.
Oh,
you could work less hours, like
100%,
right? So you could work maybe 8 or 9 shifts, which would be like 90 hours, 80, 90 hours, and make about the same you would as an employee.
Yeah, and then you're home longer,
and you can have more days off.
That's the way I looked at it. So I could work less shifts. That's what I was going to kind of delve into is you typically work less in a locums role and make the same amount. Exactly.
You can, or if you want to make a lot of money, then you work a lot more.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I always tell the young docs, work hard, work strong, and then slow down.
Yeah, while you're young and got the energy, why not? Right. Get out there and do it. So for you, the family side of it wasn't difficult to manage. Like your family was on board. They're like, you know.
Well, you can be home as much as you want to be.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to work,
like you get to choose when, right?
Yeah. And that's the other part of it. I take every holiday off.
Yeah.
I take every winter off.
You're not supposed to take. You don't have to work holidays. Like why is that?
The only reason I would work a holiday is because I get paid time and a half. Yeah. So not only do you make good money, you make great money on holidays. Which is awesome.
And I work holidays. I work most holidays just for that exactly. And then I'll take the day after the holiday off.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why not?
Yeah. But I take all winters off. Like I think last year I took maybe 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks off in winter.
Now, did you have to ask your scheduler for those days off, or how did that work?
There's no negotiating. You basically say, this is when I'm available, this is when I'm not available, and that's it. And no one asks you. Because typically you work in multiple different spots, so they don't know what you're doing or what you're not doing. And even if they do know, it's not their business. Because
so scheduling is not, it's basically you're in control as opposed to the scheduler, right? I think people don't have this idea of what this concept actually means.
Yes.
Of being able to, again, schedule your work around your life.
Yep.
Instead of scheduling your life around your work. Because when you work as an employee or a contract management group or whatever, you're going to be given your schedule every month, right? These are the days you're working. And you have to schedule your life around it. Like you have to fit in life around that, right?
Right.
But as a locum doc, you give your schedule to the site in advance, 2 to 3 months, and then they work you in. They'll add their employee docs around that or whatever. They'll give you preference, you know. And so that now you can take days off, like you said, take weeks off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking.
So as an example, you took 3 weeks off this last winter.
Yep.
You were just doing some traveling, spending time with the family, doing some fun stuff.
Right.
And what else?
So this summer I'm taking 2 weeks off in June, maybe 2.5, and then in July I'm taking 3 weeks off because I just want to hang out with my kids, and we're going to be going overseas and living abroad for 3 weeks because I can.
And no requests were necessary.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And financially, I'm fine.
Yeah, you just planned ahead of time, and you just were able to do that. So
I don't think. Well, everyone I think thinks that doctors get paid a lot, and they do. But I don't think people realize all the costs that come along with everything. Your licensing fees, taxes that taken out, student loans on top of that. So you end up.
There's not a lot
just scooting by, especially in this market. You know, if you're trying to
houses are more expensive now.
Yeah,
everything, cars are more expensive.
Yep. And so if I wasn't doing locums, and let's just say I could take 3 weeks off in July, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it with having to pay the mortgage and having to pay the kids stuff.
Like you won't have enough savings left to take a 3-week vacation if you were an employee.
Because you're not comfortable financially. Because you're just scooting by. Yeah, you save some, sure. I mean, you're not like, you know,
And you're not a spendthrift. Let me just make that clear. Anwar is not a spendthrift. Like you don't just like spend like wildly. Like you're relatively conservative with your finances. So even as an employee, I would say that I think that's why you're saying that. It would be hard to kind of save enough money to take a 3-week vacation in a year.
Oh, you couldn't. Yeah. You could not. You can't afford to stay overseas. So you have to fly. Then you have to get in a place for 3 weeks. Then you're like food every single day. It's just not financially doable. And I tell you honestly, as a full-time employee, I counted my dollars. I had to. Because like I said, mortgage, car payment, school loans, kids' costs, they accumulate pretty quickly, and you'd be surprised how much you don't have left over at the end.
Right.
You won't be, like I said, poor, but you will not be saving as much as you should be saving, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So definitely now financially comfortable, I can almost blindly spend how I want to.
Yeah, you don't really necessarily have to consider as much.
Not at all.
As you did as when you were an employee. So going back to some of the things that, some negatives about the employment, or I guess you could say, why would you not go back to being an employee? Finances is one. Schedule, I guess we kind of talked about as well.
Meetings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Show up to these meetings for meetings.
Yeah. How many meetings have you attended in the last 9 years since you've been a locum doc?
0.
Same. I've attended 0 meetings.
I have no desire to attend any meeting and be told.
And do these random mindless modules.
Yes.
About like, I don't know. I mean, how to log into your computer. Something ridiculous, right? It's just like almost insulting our intelligence.
Yeah. Where the hospital's telling you, sign this, sign that, and it's like stuff that's just unnecessary.
So as a locum doc, you go into your shift, you do your job, and then you go home, and there's no paperwork, as long as you're doing your charts, there's no follow-up, there's no meetings, there's no expectations in that regard.
There's no other obligation.
There's no obligation.
Yeah.
So you get paid more too.
And you get paid more on top.
So it's like, yeah.
Like I tell people, I think as a locums doc, it's nice because I clock in, I clock out. I'm a doctor from 9 to 5. Not really, but the term being that when you're at work, you're a doc. When you're out, you're out. Like no one knows what I do. No one needs to know. And that's the beauty of locums is you can completely separate those two worlds.
And the thing is, you don't have to even live in the same zip code.
That's very true.
I live in Pennsylvania and I work in Delaware, right?
Yeah.
So I live in about 120 miles away. I go down, do my shifts in blocks, and then I go home.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to kind of take that benefit as well.
Yeah. No, that's actually true. So you could live in New York City if you wanted to, travel to wherever, fly in.
And the companies will pay for your travel, flights, mileage, rental cars, so on and so forth.
If you're savvy enough, actually on that note, if you're savvy, you can pay yourself out of from your own card. Like they use your one credit card. And you know this.
The Amex?
Yeah, just to say you the Amex. And then you get points on that. And you go to the Hilton and you get points on that.
Yeah.
And then you get points on your flight. So you get points on your credit card for all of those. Plus you're getting individual points for those independent companies. And then this all gets reimbursed back to you. So all of it, so you can make tons of points. Yeah. So on that note, real quick, I can tell you, like when we go to SoCal, Southern California, we stay at this fancy hotel in Huntington Beach. It's on the water for free.
Yeah.
It's usually like $500-600 a night, if not more. I stay there for free because I have all these points accumulated every year, which is nice. And to be honest, I'm not the best points person. So I could be doing a lot more, but I just don't care to.
Yeah. So there's massive benefits. We may as well talk about that more. Like the whole points thing. So on that point, so for Monterey Car Week last year and this year, I booked a hotel that's like $1,200 to $1,300 a night for free.
Yeah, see that. I'm not paying 12
for 4 nights that I'm going to be staying there. It's over $5,000, and it's basically free now because of all the points I've accumulated working locally. Yeah. That's just part of it. That's not like I've used all my points.
Right, and you probably flew there on points.
I mean, I can fly there on points. Last year I was in Dubai for like 2 weeks on the Palm at the Hilton Palm, brand new hotel, all points. 0 like cost out of pocket, free breakfast.
So if you think about that, now that you mentioned
that's like what? How much? Like $10,000 plus?
Yeah. So you're actually technically making $10,000 more.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
while
you're on vacation, technically,
could be,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Because you're not spending that money. So
you're making locums money plus points.
Mm-hmm.